Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing another gear review for you all over another trail cam I have been running for about 2 to 3 years now, and it is Spypoint Link Micro Lite. This is their budget-friendly cell cam that they have on their website. I think this is their cheapest one they have for cell cam wise, and it runs about $100 to $120. We found, I think, all three of ours on sale for $100, but on their website it's at like $119.99. But anyway, been running this for a while and decided it was time to do a gear review now that we know all the nuances of Spypoint and these cameras, and kind of can give you a more in-depth review over them and let you know our thoughts of how they run, what are some of their maybe pros and cons, and what our main thoughts are and if they're worth a buy. So stay tuned, let's get into it. To start off, I'll go over the specs. This camera takes 10 megapixel photos, or it has 10 megapixels. Shoots infrared at night. It has an 80-foot range, shooting range. It takes 8 batteries to run this camera. It has a little box here, and as you can tell, you have your batteries on the back and front side, and then this just slides right into the camera there. And it can hold up to a 32 gig micro SD card, and it just goes right here in this slot. I don't have one in there right now because I just pulled this camera a couple weeks ago, but it goes right there in the slot. And like I told you before, this camera can be found anywhere from $100 to $120. So very reasonable price for a cell cam. Is honestly the main reason we started running them in the first place. Now, moving on to the pros of this camera. It is a cellular camera. Jeez, can't speak. So this does send you photos right to your phone on their app. They have an app, and then they also have their, you can log onto their website and look at them on your computer through that way, which is awesome. And it actually does work pretty well. You can set it up for 2 times a day, I think like 4 times, 6 times, 8 times a day, and then like every detection, it can send you a photo. I've typically only done once or twice a day just to save battery life and not have it sending me photos like every single time it has a photo. Not that I get that many photos, but yeah, easy to set up. This camera also seems to do very well on the battery life. It lasts a couple months usually before you have to put in new batteries, maybe like at least 3 to 4 months. Maybe sometimes we get longer depending on if we're like getting a bunch of photos during the summer where we're getting them on our mineral sites. When we have mineral sites out and getting photos, like a lot of photos every day, it might only be like 3 or 4 months, but usually you can get at least a half a year out of the batteries, it seem to be. And then the other huge pro is it's just very reasonable for a cell cam on the price. A lot of cell cams cost anywhere from $200 to $500, and this only costs $100, so can't beat that. Now the cons, and this is where I really want to get into this camera because they've kind of become a pain in the butt lately. One of the big issues with this camera is Spypoint will periodically come out with like upgrades in their system or whatever, and then you have to like reformat your SD card. And they don't even have a video on like how to actually reformat your SD card. They have like instructions which are pretty detailed on their website, but there's all these little nuances to how to reformat. So you go on their website, you download their most latest version, and then you're supposed to copy and paste all the contents from that reformatted version onto your SD card, and then theoretically you should be good to go. But I've actually had issues with 2 of our cameras. 2 of our 3 I've had issues with reformatting, and actually still haven't been able to get them to work. So that's been a real big pain in the butt and really frustrating because you kind of sit there, read all these comments from people on how to do it or whatever, and still can't figure it out. So I still haven't figured it out on 2 of mine. And it's just been kind of a really big pain in the butt. And then when you reformat, the other thing you got to do is they say to install brand new batteries. Even if your batteries, like if the version comes out, they say to put new batteries in, which is kind of another pain in the butt because if you just put like batteries in that aren't that old and still have like 80% battery life left, then I mean, where you I mean, you can use them on something else, I guess, but just kind of a pain in the butt that you got to replace the batteries every time you reformat as well. Another thing we also noticed with batteries is when these get low, if it gets around maybe that 30-40% range, sometimes the cameras will stop sending photos because I guess the battery life's so low, and it'll just stop sending photos. It'll keep taking them like a normal trail cam, but you won't start, like, your camera will just kind of shut. Like, you'll notice you're not getting photos from any of the days, and then when you go out there and replace the batteries, all of a sudden you'll get all the photos sent to you like immediately. So that's another kind of pain in the butt. Even when they don't die and you still got 30-40% of battery life left, you might have to go change these because it's not sending you photos. Another pain in the butt is you have to put it, for some weird reason with Spypoints, you have to have all the exact same batteries, or or it just doesn't seem to work. It works very rarely if you have different types of batteries in. So we found that out as well. That's another issue. So if you run into some issues, it could be your batteries, but you got to make sure you put all the same batteries in at once. You can't have these Energizer batteries and then have your Duracells or anything like that. Like, it'll screw it all up, even if they're brand new batteries. Another big pain in the butt. And then, of course, the other bad thing about having a cell cam is obviously, but you have to do this with all cell cams, is you got to have a plan. So they have a free plan that's 100 photos per month, which is obviously nothing. That's 3 photos per day. And then the next plan is like $7, $10, and $15. So it's pretty reasonable. We usually only run the cell cams right from like summer to fall, and then we pull them for like the winter and spring. So we don't usually buy the yearly plans, but kind of a pain in the butt. Obviously, it just costs more money to run cell cams when you can just put another camera out there and not have to worry about paying a monthly fee on top of it. And the other thing I've learned, but I haven't had to deal with yet, or I haven't called them yet, but I've heard from a bunch of reviews, is apparently their customer service is awful. Apparently they're not very helpful. They don't respond well. They don't really try to help you when you call if you have issues. It just seemed like a lot of the reviews that I read on their customer service were not good. They're just not willing to help. They're not good about their warranties or anything like that, which is shocking. I don't know why, but just appears to be that way with them. And that kind of really made me feel bad about even having them now, because I really value customer service a lot, and just didn't make me feel good about even having the cameras after hearing all of that. But yeah, a lot of cons. That's the one really bad thing. We're kind of honestly, first impressions. I'll start with this. In the beginning, it was awesome. These things worked great. When you get them, they come with the SD card already, so it's pretty easy. You usually just sign in through your app. You take a photo on your phone with your app. You activate the camera. All seems to work good, but then after you start having to do the reformatting and the battery stuff, it's just kind of a hassle. It would be almost more worth it just to have a regular camera than deal with the hassle of having to deal with all these Spypoint nuances. And I haven't heard anything else from any other cell cams, but yeah, just kind of a pain in the butt, to be honest. So, I think they are a good budget-friendly option, but we're already thinking about stop running these and getting rid of these, and just, if we're going to go with a cell cam, buy one of the more expensive options that's reliable, better customer service, and easier to work, and not have to deal with a bunch of weird little nuances with battery life and card formatting and all that weird stuff. And that's kind of the way we're looking right now. But I still have one up now. It's still working great, that one. Sends me photos, they're definitely I think they're worth it for the price to try them out, but and maybe they're better now. It's been a while since we bought them, so hopefully maybe they got a lot of those little things, kinks figured out, and maybe their battery stuff is better now. But I have a buddy that had the exact same issue with his battery on his, and I guess it's just a part of the game with Spypoints. But like I said, really in the beginning, it seemed to work really well in the beginning, and I have one now that's still working great, and we still ran a couple of these this year and they were working fine, but sometimes it's just this formatting is just hard to figure out. And that's just the what we've had to deal with. So it's just our honest opinion on it. But yeah, we're kind of fed up with them a little bit, and I think we might try some other options and see if there's maybe cheaper options out there. I think Moultrie has a couple of cheaper options that we might try this coming year, but we'll see. But I definitely think they're worth it. Maybe for like the first, maybe try one of them out. I think it's good for like your first cell cam to try out, just because of the price, and the plan's pretty reasonable if you want to like just see how it runs for a year and then see if you really like them and see if maybe they figured out all their kinks with the battery life and formatting and all that stuff. But I recommend them for that. But I don't know if I don't think we're gonna run them the next couple of years as hard as we used to, and we might get rid of a couple of them. Might keep the one that's working the best. But let me know if you guys have had the same issues with these Spypoints, and if I don't know if the customer service has been as bad as it seems to be on the reviews. But let me know your thoughts, and if you have any questions about them, let me know. Like I said, I've been running these for like probably 3 years now, three full years now, and have basically dealt with everything with them. So if you have any trouble with them, let me know. I'm sure I have had the same issue and probably have figured it out, because we've had to do a bunch of different things and finally figured out the little nuances of getting them to work. But yeah, but overall, decent camera, especially for a cell cam. And let me know if you guys give it a shot, and hopefully you guys have better success than we did. But thanks for watching this review, and we'll see you in the next one.